Good afternoon. Welcome to the July 11th Traffic Committee meeting. I'll go ahead and call us to order, and we'll go ahead and start with introductions.
Michael Ackerman, City Engineer.
And then Brian Cervantes, Traffic Division.
Jana Robbins, Traffic Division.
Steven Spagan, Sergeant of the Traffic Division.
Corporal Adam Seigner, West Covina Traffic.
Excellent. So at the last meeting, the items that were discussed was the speed humps along East Temple Avenue Way, north of Holt Avenue, traffic calming along Parkside Drive between Eveningside Drive and Fairgrove Avenue, traffic review of East Cortez Street between South Azusa Avenue and Hollenbeck Avenue, curb request at Thelborn Street between Orange Avenue and Morris Avenue, traffic review of Belinda Avenue and Merced Avenue, and speed humps along East Autumn Drive between South Azusa Avenue and Double Grove Street. Now we'll move into the new items for this month. Our first item is going to be the line of sight request at West Roseway Street and South Sunset Avenue. So for this, the resident is requesting the installation of red curb on the east side of South Sunset Avenue, north of West Roseway Street, due to large vehicles parking too close to the intersection and causing a line of sight issue for drivers turning left onto South Sunset Avenue. The posted speed limit along South Sunset Avenue is 40 miles per hour, with West Roseway Street having a 25 mile per hour prima facie speed. South Sunset Avenue is a principal arterial road, while West Roseway Street is a local road. It's stop controlled for West Roseway Street, where South Sunset does not have a stop control. The adjacent land use is single-family residential, as well as office and multifamily residential. There currently is 64 feet of red curb south of West Roseway Street, and we did look at the collision history for a 3-year period from April of 2020 through April of 2023, and we found that there were 3 total collisions. Oops, there we are. Let's go to the conditions. And like I said, there is existing red curb south of Roseway Street with a length of 64 feet, but there is no red curb north of Roseway Street. And based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines and guidelines found in the CAM UTCD and CVC, it has been determined that the intersection of South Sunset Avenue and Roseway Street does meet the criteria for installation of additional red curb. It has been shown that there is sufficient line of sight for vehicles turning left from Roseway Street onto South Sunset Avenue if cars pull up to the curb line. However, based on the CAM UTCD guidelines, it would be beneficial for drivers to install red curb to improve visibility at the intersection. So based on section 3B.19, 1 car space or 20 feet on either side of an intersection, we'll go ahead and recommend installing 20 feet of red curb north of the east leg of the intersection at Roseway Street and Sunset Avenue, as shown as in the diagram. There will still be 39 feet of non-painted curb or room to park approximately 2 vehicles.
Any discussion?
No.
Okay, so the motion is to paint 20 feet of red curb where it's not existing on the north side of Roseway. All in favor?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Yep, aye. Okay, so this will pass. Okay. Oh, and there's no residents here to talk about this one.
Excellent. So then for our second item, it's going to be South Azusa Avenue and East Autumn Drive. Residents who are part of an HOA located along Park Vista Way has requested that the city look into installing a traffic signal at the intersection of South Azusa Avenue and East Autumn Drive. The resident expressed concern about drivers driving recklessly while trying to enter and exit the community and requested that a signal be installed. As part of this review, As part of this review, we looked at 3 years of collision history from April 2020 through April 2023 and found that there were 3 collisions at this intersection. The posted speed limit for Azusa is 45 miles per hour, and the posted speed limit for Autumn Drive is 25 miles per hour. There is a stop sign for eastbound and westbound travel, and there is no stop control for Azusa Avenue. Azusa Avenue is a other principal arterial road per the Caltrans road system map, and Autumn Drive is a local road per the same Caltrans map. And Park Vista Drive is actually a local or private street. There are no crosswalks at the intersection, and as part of this review, we had ADT counts where it was shown that 40,618 vehicles travel along Azusa per day, and the 85th percentile speed was 48 miles per hour. There are streetlights at the intersection, and there's no parking allowed along Azusa, but there is parking allowed on both East Autumn Drive and Park Vista Drive. The street width at Autumn Drive for the west leg is 30 feet and the east leg 40 feet. Azusa Avenue for the north leg is 90 feet, where the south leg is 100 feet. And this section is surrounded by single-family dwelling units. Okay. Perfect. So justification for installation of traffic signal is based on criteria as found in the CAM UTCD and supported by a site-specific engineering study. The criteria has minimum volume for each direction of traffic that must be met for 8 hours in a day, 4 hours, and in special circumstances in a single hour. When completing a study, there are additional factors or criteria that should be met, such as distance to adjacent signal, gaps in major street traffic, number of collisions in a 12-month period, and if there is significant pedestrian crossing at the major street. In this case, there were a total of 3 collisions that occurred over a 3-year period. This intersection is also 480 feet from a signal to the south at Fairgrove Avenue and approximately 1,200 feet to a signal north at Aroma Drive. Park Vista Way is also considered a private street, providing access to 44 houses, while Aroma Drive provides access to several housing tracts. And while inconvenient, residents can access the signal at Fairgrove Avenue and Aroma Drive. At this time, the cross street of Autumn Drive and Park Vista Drive do not meet the collision criteria and are unlikely to generate the amount of side traffic needed to exceed the volume criteria for a traffic signal. And for the recommendations, the city has implemented a traffic calming policy that outlines the process for installing major traffic control. At this time, the intersection is in level 1 with an administrative review and research into traffic collisions. The city will continue to monitor the location and will also alert the police department of the issues when entering or crossing Azusa Avenue. Due to the speed and roadway conditions, as well as other complaints on Azusa Avenue, it is recommended that your speed feedback sign be installed south of Autumn Drive for northbound Azusa traffic. And based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines and guidelines found in the CAM UTCD as well as the CVC. The intersection at South Azusa Avenue and East Autumn Drive does not meet requirements for a signal.
Okay, on this one, I just noticed that your speed sign should be on the other side of the road.
That's what I was wondering, if the north arrow was going the right way. I'm
Yeah,
like, north
so-
is up, right? Which way
Yes,
is that
yes.
thing facing?
So it's northbound. I mean, it's hard to tell on a flat diagram, but there is a
Right.
hill coming down, and Fairgrove has the fire department right there, but there is a hill so they can gain speed. So it needs to be moved to the other side.
But at the same location, just on the other side,
Around the
so,
same location, because they are continuing downhill to Aroma.
yeah, and typically
So-
people slow down right at the sign. So if you
Yeah.
have the sign before the intersection, hopefully they slow down and then see any traffic coming out.
I was gonna make a different suggestion
Okay.
for the speed sign.
Yeah,
Making a right turn there is, so making a right turn, leaving Park Vista to go northbound. So
Yes.
That's, PD's always there. I'm sure the citizens see us. I've been there, I don't even know how many times. There is a speeding problem, but making a right turn is not what's hard right there. Making a left is what's difficult. So I think you have, in my opinion, that your speeding sign needs to be for southbound traffic.
oh, okay.
For people trying to make a left. However, it needs to be before that intersection, in my opinion. So if you take that, your speeding sign and
Mhm.
move it up northbound, so for southbound traffic, move it north of the intersection, you can at least alert to the drivers how fast they're going to slow down as you're coming to that intersection for the people making a left.
That's a good point.
Good point, yeah.
And then you also have that Fairgrove traffic signal right there.
Mhm.
So that stops northbound traffic for the most part, so you can make a safe right turn for the
Yeah,
most
gives them a
part.
gap.
I think it's more so making a left that's
Okay.
kind of scary.
Yeah, it looks like they have is it a right turn pocket there and
On
then
the
Yeah.
one side, yeah, so
maybe an arrow to merge?
acceleration lane, it looks like, or at
Yeah.
least, yeah.
And
Now,
that traffic stops at Fairgrove pretty often.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Did we acquire the radar feedback signs that attach to the street lights with a little solar that we could, move from location to location as we need them?
Well, we just got an ATP it's confirmed, and the city just got 2.6 million for ATP.
Congratulations,
Yeah, so it's a
city, and the
big
people
thing,
who
the
wrote
city.
that
So-
application, thank you.
Yes, so it's all around, every single school has various items that they will be making improvements. So that was one that I think there's a couple of places that they're gonna put the Your Speed sign, so we'll have to look at that.
Okay,
And so, and then if it's not, then next year, the even years are when HSIP and ATP grant applications come out again.
mhm.
So the city would be sitting good for applying for another, hopefully an HSIP and an ATP.
Do
to
we
get
use
some more.
these reports for the funding for those, or do we hope to implement these sooner than that?
We're hoping to implement these sooner than that, because these, we have to check to see what's on the ATP that they just got, because next step for it would be going to get a contractor and get the design process. So if any of these are in the ATP, because of the, you have to go to council, that, it's a given, you have to take them to council for final approval. But if it looks like they have to wait for a project to be tagged on to get them installed, then the city can make a decision whether, since they're getting the money for it, free money, they either pay for it now or whenever this comes in, or they wait for the free money, if it's the same improvement.
And was the first line of defense or level one response enforcement, and then do we have a mobile radar feedback sign, or like the trailer one?
We do have a trailer one, but I don't know where you'd be able to put it.
Right, with the high
This-
speed.
This one,
and-
it's a little hard, yeah.
Yeah.
Because everyone, they use all those lanes, it's a highway, Highway 39, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, putting a trailer there, I think would be more of a
Because you have to
hazard.
put it up on the
Yeah.
sidewalk, and then we block peds, so.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, so I think, are we gonna vote to change the location of the speed feedback sign to southbound but further north of Autumn?
I would support that, I like that, I think we
Okay.
should maybe try and get the one that does attach to the streetlights, in case you ever wanna try a different position. But I
Yeah,
like that for
see
the,
how it affects it, and if it gets
Yep.
better, then we can think of something else.
Yeah,
yeah, leave it if it's effective, or,
okay, so we'll change it to the movable feedback and move the location. All in favor of that?
Aye.
And then we'll go ahead and we'll change the exhibit. So what we do is, once it goes to council, we have to have exhibits, construction exhibits ready. So then, when it goes to council, we'll fix it there, so we have all the notes. All right? Good discussion?
That's it. Then we'll move on to our third item, which is Shadow Oak Drive and Gemini Street. The resident requested a review of traffic conditions at the intersection of Shadow Oak Drive and Gemini Street. The resident expressed concerns about vehicles not stopping at the stop-controlled intersection, as well as the stop signs at the intersection being damaged frequently. The resident requested that measures be installed to increase visibility at the intersection, along with flashing stop signs. So for this review, we also looked at 3 years of collision history from April 2020 through April 2023, and noted that there was 2 collisions at the intersection. The speed limit along Shadow Oak Drive is 40 miles per hour, whereas Gemini is 25 miles per hour. The intersection is always stop controlled, and the ADT for Shadow Oak Drive was 8,223 vehicles per day, and the speed survey 85th percentile was 41 miles per hour. There are advanced warning signs eastbound, westbound, and northbound for this intersection, and the streets are both classified as local roads per the Caltrans California Road Systems map. There are streetlights at this intersection, and there is no parking allowed for eastbound and westbound, but it is allowed on for northbound travel. This area is surrounded by single-family residential homes as well as Shadow Oak Park, and the street width is 60 feet for Shadow Oak Drive and 40 feet for Gemini Street. And there are crosswalks for the east and south leg that are white ladders, standard ladder crosswalks. And based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines and guidelines found in the CAMU, TCD, and CVC, the intersection of Shadow Oak Drive at Gemini Street is a good candidate for proceeding to level 2 traffic measures since it meets the adopted traffic request guidelines, and there is an existing crosswalk at the intersection. For flashing stop signs, the installation is considered a level 3 measure, and to be considered, the intersection would need to exhibit a history of collisions and have a high pedestrian volume crossing at the intersection. At this time, there were 2 collisions at the intersection with property damage only, and while all collisions are considered as significant, the city of West Covina must set a priority for implementation of costly traffic safety enhancement devices. After a count is completed, when schools are back in session, if volume data supports moving the location to level 3 for flashing stop signs, the resident will be notified and a petition required from area residents in support of flashing stop signs will be provided to them. So for the interim recommendations, it's proposed to refresh all stop bar and stop legends, remove and replace 3-way stop plaque with all-way stop plaques under all stop signs, install red reflective strips on all existing stop sign posts, and install an island curb alert reflector and repaint the yellow striping around the curb to improve visibility of the raised median.
So, there is a raised median where these stop signs are in the,
Correct, in this
Center
middle
lane?
along Shadow Oak.
Yeah, but
Okay.
for the eastbound traffic, we have a lot of people that'll make a left turn north to westbound Shadow Oak and they
Hit it.
run over that center median, flatten their tires.
It's like
That's
a
what I was
2,
wondering.
3 foot. It's like, it's only,
the center
Yeah.
lane looks like a double left lane to me. It looks like it's wide enough to be a travel lane, and I can see how people at night, or if they're not familiar with the area, would think that's where they're supposed to go to make a left.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we shouldn't stripe that out with some yellow chevrons, that direct
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
back to their lane, and then they would be like, I'm not supposed to be here.
I agree.
Because for me, with this, I can see my kids all hitting these stop signs. But I think that might be helpful if we had the
Okay.
directional striping to keep them out of that lane, just near the intersections there.
yeah, it probably makes sense, because, we've got a lot of intersections like this in the city, and they keep running over the stop signs, because there
Yeah.
is a stop sign posted in the middle.
Even going southbound, even though you can't go left, they may be trying to U-turn or something, I might want them even in front of that stop sign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that would just heighten the visibility altogether in that intersection would be
And then it would
beneficial.
also slow them down because it makes the lanes look smaller too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're gonna add the yellow chevrons, and what was the thing you said, for northbound?
Yeah, would it be
For
chevrons
northbound?
or would it just be going
Well,
one way, right? 'Cause you wanna
yeah.
direct them back to their lane, right? Whether the chevrons are going either side.
Yeah.
We don't really want that either.
Oh, it's
So,
for
right.
both sides, so we'd have to look at what we need to put in there.
Right, so as you're approaching the stop sign
Yeah.
in the center lane, you would want just diagonal up to the right, right? So they see that diagonal line and like, oh, get back in my lane.
Right,
You
but
know,
then
like-
you have to consider that it's next to the other direction going the other way. So we
Yeah.
don't want it
Yeah.
letting them float into the other lane too, so,
Yeah, but cars going the other way would see the diagonal the other way. It would still be directing them to the lane they're supposed to be in. So in this picture in the top right here, the diagonals would be going from bottom left to upper right. Right? And then going the other way in front of that stop sign, it'd be the same, but reversed.
yeah. Okay, and then there was something else you said? So that's for both directions?
Mhm.
Eastbound and westbound?
Yeah, I would call it north and south, but yeah, it's could be east and west.
Yeah, it's kinda-
Yeah, Shadow kind of goes like that horseshoe.
yeah,
Yeah.
pick a direction.
Yep. I think if you just get some stripes in there
Yeah,
before the
okay.
stop sign, they'll
Yeah.
know to stay in their lane.
Got it.
And it looks like we're doing new stop signs.
Yeah, the stop signs, when we looked at them, they were okay.
Are they the retro reflective?
Yeah, they
brand new
they
ones?
looked pretty new.
Okay.
It's just, we're gonna add the red, reflector post, and then you need to have all-way, when they do
Yeah.
one-way, two-way, that's out of, non-compliant now. So,
And then even on the little small raised median that's out there,
Yeah.
are we gonna do the
That's
painted
that curb,
or
island
put a
curb
reflector on
reflector,
that as
yes.
well?
yeah,
That should be good.
so we paint the whole way around the yellow,
Mhm.
so, okay. And then this one, as Brian said, because it has the crosswalk, we'll move it. We don't do the counts until it looks like it's gonna move to the next level. So we'll take the counts to see if there's heavy pedestrians there, and then we'll see if it has a lot of pedestrians and conditions change with collisions or whatever, then we'll take a relook at it. But as it stands now, it doesn't meet priority lists for always the flashing stop.
Okay, very good.
Okay, do we go with this and add the diagonal lines in the yellow? Okay. All right.
And then for our fourth and last item, it'll be Shadow Oak Drive at Woodgate Drive. Residents would like a review of traffic conditions at the intersection of Shadow Oak Drive and Woodgate Drive. The resident has requested to implement flashing stop signs or other traffic calming measures that can help improve visibility at the intersection. The resident explained that some vehicles do not stop at the intersection and that this area is often used for a shortcut from Amar to Nogales. So as part of this review, we looked at the 3 years of collision history and found that there was 3 collisions at this intersection. As well, the posted speed limit for Shadow Oak is 40 miles per hour, and for East Woodgate Drive is 25 miles per hour, and South Woodgate Drive 30 miles per hour. This intersection is an all-way stop-controlled intersection, and there is no advanced warning sign for the stop signs in the eastbound or westbound direction, but there is for northbound and southbound. Both streets are classified as local roads per the Caltrans California Road Systems map. There are no crosswalks at this intersection, and we do have ADT counts and 85th percentiles for both streets. For Shadow Oak, the ADT was 8,700 vehicles per day with a 39 mile per hour 85th percentile speed. And for Woodgate, there was 1,045 daily vehicles along that route and a 32 mile per hour 85th percentile speed. There are streetlights at this location to illuminate the intersection. And there is parking allowed for eastbound and westbound travel, but there is no parking allowed along Shadow Oak or northbound, southbound travel. And the street width for Shadow Oak is 60 feet, whereas Woodgate Drive is 40 feet, and this area is surrounded by single-family residential homes. So based on engineering judgment, the City of West Covina traffic request guidelines and guidelines found in the CAM, UTCD, and CVC, the installation of solar flashing stop signs will only be considered after completing an engineering study. However, the intersection of Shadow Oak Drive at Woodgate Drive does not meet criteria to install flashing stop signs due to the low collisions within the last 3 years. This location will be forwarded to the police department for spot enforcement, and other traffic control measures will be recommended to improve visibility and public safety at the intersection. This location will be closely monitored, and if conditions change, installation of flashing stop signs, a level 3 condition, can be considered. The proposed recommendations for this intersection is to remove and replace the 4-way plaque with all new all-way plaques, install red reflective strips on all existing signposts, refresh all stop bar and stop legends at the intersection, refresh the yellow curb around the medians for better visibility, and replace immediately the missing stop sign for the eastbound direction on Woodgate Drive.
So what do you think about also doing the chevron or the diagonals on this one as well?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's pretty much the same thing.
It's kind of a sister street, but it doesn't have crosswalks.
yeah, it's very similar. It looks like there's bots dots already on the yellow line for the center painted median.
No, I don't think it's spots dots, but
You want to drop in
it
on,
may be RPMs.
oh, you think those are raised pavement
Yeah, I
markers?
think they're just, and then we just,
Just in the photo in the top
Yeah.
right, it looked like,
I think it's
Looks like
something
yellow
we
bots
did, we
dots.
put the little circles in there.
and I like those, but it can be a maintenance item for
Yeah.
public works if they keep getting hit and popping off.
No, it's just occasional
Nothing, huh?
RPMs.
So you have yellow raised pavement markers? Oh,
I think
okay.
they're on each side.
Yeah, then I would say the striping would be beneficial.
Yeah, okay, and then
Yellow
here-
diagonal stripes ahead of the medians,
Yes,
the raised medians.
okay. Then someone, or whatever, the eastbound stop sign's missing. So we need to do that ASAP, so that won't wait till council, that'll be done. Brian will inform maintenance and we'll get that taken care of. And it looks like the stop and the stop bar that's on the concrete has been is kind of been driven off, so it needs
Mhm.
to be refreshed.
As long as as well as the bike lane too, right?
Yeah, all the striping that's right there will have to be refreshed. Stop bar, the stops. The yellow looked pretty good. And then it was also, we confirmed that with field pictures, so it's just, I think it's a bus route as well, so.
Mhm.
Is it like-
Yeah, it has to be.
Okay, so our, is to add the recommendations and then also add the diagonal yellow lines in the center? Is that what we're going with?
Yep.
Okay. And then we do know that because of the holiday and, I don't know how it happened, but some vacation time, we weren't able to inform some of the residents of their item. So we will, after the meeting, inform all the residents of their item and what was decided. And if they want to come and speak to the traffic commission, we'll bring them back next month for a final review after they have a chance to speak to the committee.
Very good. And are there any audience comments on items on the agenda? I don't believe so.
We did not receive any.
Excellent. Then I'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Our next meeting will be next month in August, same time and place.
Thank you.
Thank you.